I write a lot of lyrics, but I've kept a song journal for years, and occasionally I get one that won't turn into a song. And this was one that didn't become a song, but I sent it off to David Marcus in the Irish Press, I remember, was it the Independent, was it? And he published this one. It's called Telemachus, son of Ulysses. And the introduction is, I haunted the docks as a kid, waiting for my father's ship to come in. I had romantic notions of his life on the open sea, fed by tall tales that he himself spun to my brothers and me on cold winter nights in front of the fire when he was home on leave. He was a great man for the stories. He once told me, actually, as an aside, that he won I counted his neckties once, and there were 90, I think. And one of them, I remember I stole myself and wore it to my first dance up in the Crescent. It had an eagle on the front made out of rhinestone. But he told me he won that one in New Orleans, where he'd got into a poker game with a friend of his. The two of them sat in. There were a few black men holding the deck, and at the end of the evening it came to he had a good hand, and the black man sitting opposite him had a lovely tie but no money to continue the game. So he took off the tie, put it on the deck, and lost it to my father, and I went on, wore it, and impressed the first girl I ever went out with, Margaret Close. So much so that she allowed me to walk her home. I won't sing that one out tonight. When I got down to St. John's Castle, and we live up on Wolftown Street, I knew I was in serious trouble. But not because where we were heading, but because it was 11:30 by this stage, and I was supposed to be in by 11. But anyway, we're after steering right away from the poem, Telemachus. At sea again, or docked in some port town, on leave, maybe dancing to a calypso in some girl's arms. My mother said he was quite a dancer then. When she took me shopping, I often wondered why she smiled when young men whistled as we passed. At night, she knit gansies by the fireside, where ornaments from China gleamed, brass dragons on the mantelpiece. Her needles clicked like chopsticks, picking up one noodle. She fed her dreams on reams and reams of plain and pearl. Scarves and knit mittens, too, digested a little of her sorrow, and kept her hoping that my father's ship might be hooked at the end of her line of wool. After school, I went to the docks, mingled with sailors, sat on timber stacks, and dreamed of being a stowaway. I thought of my father then as a conquistador, but he was just a slack black stoker, melting for furnace flames, for steam, the blood of his ship. I didn't fully realize the implications of a world made round, of the raised flag at the tip of the icy pole. In undiscovered lands my imagined banners flew, in the kitchen where my mother's knitting like a shroud of sorrow grew, while out at sea my father hoisted on his strange shovel the death flag of my youngest dreams. I'll sing a song called Trying to Get the Balance Right. And Mary Black made a nice job of this, but I'll never forget the struggle I had to try and find the chorus for it. Sometimes you get the verses and you'll have them for years, and then I was actually cleaning the chimney one Saturday morning when it came to me, and it's kind of related to this story. Every day after school when I was 7 or 8, I used to drop into a bar next to our house on Wolftown Street to visit Nancy L., a kind spinster who ran the pub with her slightly dotty brother, Fintan, who fancied himself as a magician. During my visits, Nancy always gave me a glass of red lemonade, while her not-so-generous brother, Fintan, would greet me with a single word, abracadabra, and pull pennies from my ears. Pennies which he never gave me. One afternoon when I went into the bar, Fintan was there alone and there were no customers. Coming from behind the counter with his usual grin, he muttered abracadabra and told me that he had a new magic trick to show me. Taking me by the hand, he led me into a small, dark, windowless storeroom full of wooden porter barrels, telling me that he was going to shut me in and free me Houdini style without the aid of a key. After he locked the door, I stood trembling in the pitch-black confined space waiting for the door to open, but ages went by and it remained shut. The strong smell of porter started going to my head and made me feel queasy. I tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. In a panic, I began to shout Fintan's name as loud as I could and bang on the door with my fists. After a few minutes, the door suddenly creaked open and Nancy stood before me with a white face, squeezing her hands. Taking me by the shoulder, she calmed me down and explained that Fintan was gone to bed with a bad headache. She then put me sitting on a high stool and gave me a large glass of lemonade. While I was sipping the fizzy drink through my sobs, Nancy produced a bright, colourful flyer advertising Fawcett Circus. As well as tigers, lions, elephants and clowns, there was a pair of acrobats with long poles balancing on a high wire displayed on the leaflet. Handing it to me, Nancy smiled and offered to take me to the circus the following week, if I didn't tell anyone about what Fintan had been doing to me. Without hesitation I agreed, and that's how I came to see the high wire act that gave me the idea years later while I was cleaning the chimney for the chorus of my next song.
Very good.
By the way, I'll only be singing another, 2 songs after this one, and 1 or 2 stories, so you'll be able to get on with the chat after that. Oh, we don't always live in harmony. Often there are times when we are enemies. I fight with you and you fight with me, trying to get the balance right. Sometimes we cause each other pain. Sometimes our wills are not the same. Often we tire of the strain, trying to get the balance right. Like a circus pair, high up in the air, working on their act. We need that kind of pact. High above the ring, watch them balancing. See how they unite. We too can get it right. Oh, I know we don't always get along. One of us soft and acts too strong. Sometimes we find we're going wrong, trying to get the balance right. Like a circus pair, high up in the air, working on their act. We need that how they unite. We two can get it right. Oh, we don't always live in harmony. Often there are times when we are enemies. I fight with you and you fight with me, trying to get the balance right. Trying to get the balance right. Trying to get the balance right.